Let us talk about economy today. What is an economy? Well, it's a place where people, households, businesses, governments, and other organizations undertake activities such as producing, providing, and obtaining goods and services, save, spend, borrow, and lend money, use and provide labor and skills, use natural resources and machines.
But why do we measure the economy? That's because we want to observe, measure, organize and summarize and present those information about the economy in a way that is meaningful to the viewers.
And in order to achieve that, we need some rules. So, firstly, we measure aggregate supply. Aggregate supply comes from domestic production and the merchandise goods and services that are imported. Here, domestic production refers to the value of all the goods and services produced in the country. Next, we measure the aggregate demand. Aggregate demand is equal to the expenditure of domestic households, which includes investment expenditure of domestic firms, government purchases of goods and services, and exports.
Now, let's learn about how we measure. Contrary to popular belief that Bhutan's economy is measured based on Dr. Ramlal's method, the measurement is based on UN's system of national accounts. Before going any further, let us briefly learn what the system of national account is. The SNA is an internationally agreed standards developed by the United Nations in consultation with the member countries and other relevant agencies such as World Bank, IMF, and European Union. It follows conventions based on economic principles.
And on to the most important question. What is gross domestic product? It is the sum of all final goods and services produced in an economy less the value of imports of goods and services. In a much summarized form, it tells us about the size of an economy and the growth rate of the economy. There are three different approaches to measuring the GDP, and they are production approach, expenditure approach, and income approach. Because we use different sources for these approaches, there is going to be some discrepancies. The most common terms that one encounters while talking about GDP are nominal GDP and real GDP. The GDP is measured both in current or nominal prices and constant or real prices. What is nominal GDP? The current price estimates reflect the monetary value of all goods and services produced over the period in the economy at prices prevailing in the year of reporting. Therefore, the effects of price change can convey a false picture of whether and how much an economy is growing or contracting over any given period of time. Nominal GDP is equal to this year's prices multiplied by this year's quantities. From the three different approaches used to measure GDP, in Bhutan, GDP is estimated using the production and expenditure approach. The nominal GDP in Bhutan in 2021 is estimated at 187.77 billion. Nominal GDP is used when comparing GDP to any other economic indicator that is not adjusted for inflation. These are the examples of such indicators. Next is the real GDP. The real or constant price estimates reflect the monetary value of all goods and services at the fixed or base year prices. The real GDP in 2021 is estimated at 67.39 billion. The real GDP is used to observe the performance of the economy. To illustrate this, let's look at an example. Nominal GDP of Bhutan in the year 2021 was neutrum 187.77 billion, while in 2020 it was neutrum 172.30 billion. When we look only at the nominal GDP, the economy appears to have grown by 8.98%, but the real GDP expressed in base year prices, which was year 2000, is only 4.09%. Hence, why real GDP is preferred over nominal GDP for expressing the national economic performance. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Thank you and Kadunche.